sectors and communities, but for the inspiration they give us as high school students. The impressive recipients you will see presented before you today sat in the same desks, shouted down the same hallways, and slurped from the same drinking fountains you and I do today.
Here at Santa Barbara High, we are uniquely fortunate to have the SBHS Alumni Association, an unbelievably dedicated group of lifelong Dons who work tirelessly for improvement of our school. The association maintains an extensive list of potential alumni honorees for the Wall of Fame, and each fall a combined vote from the Alumni Board and our Student Leadership Class ASB provided the Wall of Fame Committee with the 5 alumni to be inducted. I would like to acknowledge the Alumni Board as well as the Student Government Wall of Fame Committee, Georgia Brace, Amber Tharakin, and Jacqueline Hewitt. These students researched our honorees and put this presentation together.
Before you leave today, following the ceremony, we strongly encourage everyone in the audience to take a walk down the main hall to look at the previous alumni awarded this impressive honor. If there are any previous honorees here today, please stand at this time and be recognized, and please introduce yourself.
Oh, look at you guys. Woo-hoo.
George Burton. What year? Year here or year in the war? Here. 1949. Sam Cunningham, class of 69.
Yes, he is still with us. Now, without further ado, this year's Wall of Fame inductees are Robert Davis, Al Guyberger, Johnny Gilbert, Roger Aceves, and Lee Wardlaw. On to the biographies. Robert Davis, class of 1942. Robert was drafted into the U.S. Army January of 1943. He trained as a baker, cook, medic, and infantryman. Active service during Battle of the Bulge. He was captured and spent 5 months in 3 POW camps with 7 escape attempts. Davis attended Santa Barbara State Teachers College, then New Mexico State University, where he got his Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering in 1949. After he attended MIT and received his Master of Science degree in Chemical Engineering in 1950, later in 2000 he got his honorary doctorate from New Mexico State University. In the photo above, Robert is shown with his fraternity brothers from Santa Barbara State College in 1942. Robert worked for Stanolind Oil and Gas, then for Chevron. He retired his position as president of Chevron Chemical Company in 1989 in San Francisco. This photo is of the Chevron Research Company in 1952, featuring Robert in the second row at the right. He served on a wide range of charitable boards, from Richmond Art Museum to American Red Cross. Robert has been married for 50 years to Judy Davis and has had 3 children, Mike, Amy, and Jenny. On the left, Robert is featured with his wife, Judy, and on the right, he is sitting with his wife, 3 children, and 2 grandchildren. Now, to accept this award on his behalf, we invite his niece, Lynn Davis, up to the stand.
very much. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my uncle, and several of the items have already been mentioned, but it's an honor for me to be able to accept this. He's a man that I've always held in very high esteem, and I do know they really wanted to be here. Until yesterday, they were planning on being here, but his mind is strong, but his body's not quite as strong some days. In a story written about called Bob's Life, he included writings about his time at Santa Barbara High School and his life in Santa Barbara and beyond. I've taken some stories from this to share with you. At the time Uncle Bob started high school, my grandparents started the Ira Davis Pastry Shop, which was at 129 East Anapamu, just down the street, across the street from the courthouse. They used my grandfather's GI Bill money, and that's the building that the family lived in and worked in. So he and his buddies would walk to the bakery after school, and then on to Pelch & Sons at the corner of Anapamu and State Street. This was his hangout. He and my dad would get up early to set bread before they went to school, because it was expected that they would help out with the business as much as they could, as long as it didn't interfere with their business, with their education. Some of his memories of high school include his escapades into football and the teachers who impacted him. He thought it would be great to join the football team because he wanted to be a jock. He was tall, skinny, not very athletic, and ended up competing with great athletes. So when it was time to get the equipment, he ended up with shoes, the spikes were pushing up into his feet and they were well worn. This was pretty much the end of his football career because he got blisters all over his feet and he decided it was time to quit. But who knows where he would have been had he gotten the right shoes. In talking about his teachers impacting his life, he had two in particular. Mrs. Moss, his French teacher, he speaks very highly of. She motivated him to learn quite a bit of French, which he was able to use when he landed in Le Havre at the start of World War II. Since he ended up being a prisoner of war in Germany, he didn't use much of it after that, but he does have great memories of her as a teacher. Another teacher with long-lasting impact on his life was his math teacher, Mr. Thompson. He remembers him as a wonderful teacher and motivator, and says he took great pains to make the students know that they had their lives ahead of them and that they needed to think about what they would do when they grew up. The biggest impact on my uncle was the day he came to class and said, the lowest percentage of divorce is with the career of priest, and the next lowest is chemical engineers. He knew he didn't want to be a priest, so not knowing what being chemical engineering was all about, he decided that was the route he would take. After graduating from high school as a Don, he started out at Santa Barbara State College as a chemistry major, since they didn't have chemical engineering. But his life took a turn when World War II started. Before he had a chance to enlist, he was drafted into the Army. He was given an IQ test, and because he had a very high IQ, he was put into the Army Specialized Training Program and was lucky enough to end up at New Mexico State College of Agriculture and Mechanics, studying chemical engineer, and then on to Texas A&M, where he studied mechanical engineering. This all came to a halt on D-Day when he was shipped out to England and then Le Havre. Although this is another story, he spent a great deal of his time during the war as a prisoner of war, and he says he matured very quickly. After being liberated at the end of the war and returning to Santa Barbara, he followed the direction that first came into his mind with his math teacher. He returned to his undergrad in chemical engineering and got his master's at MIT, and then moved on to Standard Oil. All of this shows how much an impact a teacher can have on a student. Uncle Bob never faltered from the chemical engineering path for the rest of his impressive career, starting at Standard Oil right out of college, which eventually became Chevron. He held many senior level positions over the years, including general manager of the Richmond refinery and leading the team that developed Techron. His career culminated with the position of president of Chevron Chemical Company. He often told me that although he enjoyed being a chemical engineer, he enjoyed being a manager even more. It is obvious that Santa Barbara High School did have an impact on his life and career direction. Hopefully each of you will have a teacher who inspires you like Mr. Thompson did for Uncle Bob. I'm not sure that career paths should necessarily be decided based on percentage of divorce, but for each of you, there will be some message, when least expected, which will inspire you. Be open to hearing it. Thank you again for this honor. As his niece, I think you chose wisely. He's a man I've always looked up to.
All right, our next honoree is Al Geiberger, class of 1955.
Thank you.
In high school, Al was on the first SBHS gold team for golf and helped bring them to a CIF championship. After high school, Al went to USC and graduated in 1959, going straight into professional golfing. He has won the PGA Tour 11 times with 10 championship wins and the 1966 PGA Championship. His biggest accomplishment was being the first to shoot a 59 in a PGA Tour event on June 10, 1977, at the Danny Thomas Memphis Classic. He was voted by Sports Illustrated as having one of the most significant sporting achievements of the 20th century and will forever be known as Mr. 59. He now has 6 children with his wife Carolyn. One of his children, Brent, is a 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, and another, John, is a national championship-winning college golf coach. Al couldn't be with us today, but our current golf coach and math teacher, Mr. Ryan Throop, will be accepting his award.
I'd like to thank you for this award, the alumni, in honor of Al Geiberger. And when he said that Al was Mr. 59, I thought that was for like 9 holes, but that's for 18. So I brought one of my golfers today, Callie Lingle, and she was one of our best golfers this year, and we'd like to honor him by representing Santa Barbara High in the best that we can. And I'm bummed that Al couldn't be here today, or his family couldn't be here today, but thank you for honoring him and his career and his legacy that he lives to his family and for the school. Thank you.
All right. John Gilbert, class of 1961. In high school, Johnny was a very successful athlete, participating in basketball, football, and track. In 1960, he led the Golden Tornadoes to a CIF championship win, received all league honors, came second place in the CIF Finals 100-yard dash with 9.7 seconds, and came third in the state meet. In 1963, Johnny was recruited to join some of the top athletes at the Southern California Striders Track Club. At the Amateur Athletic Union meet in Missouri, he came in second place to Bob Hayes, who broke the world record in the 100-yard dash in just 9.1 seconds, with Johnny running a 9.2, giving him a spot on the U.S. dual track team. Later in life, he worked for ITT Industries as a senior computer operator and was a Santa Barbara County mentor. He retired in 2012. John is married to his high school sweetheart, Pauline, and has been now for 53 years. They have 4 children and 12 grandchildren. Unfortunately, Johnny could not be here today, but to accept the award on his behalf, his grandson, Caleb Gilbert, will come up to the stage.
Well, I'm actually not Caleb Gilbert, I'm Caleb Nett. Thank you guys. I wish. Okay, so my name is Caleb Nett. I'm a senior at St. Joseph High School, and Johnny Gilbert is my grandfather. And for those of you who don't know him personally, my grandfather is one of the coolest, most laid-back people you will ever meet in your lifetime. And whenever I go over to my grandparents' house, me and my grandpa, we just watch sports, whatever on, and we could talk, almost about anything. And it's always a great time. And about 2 years ago, Right before I was about to leave my grandparents' house with my mom, he gave me a little black book, and at first I didn't think much of it, and it was a gift, and I was like, a little black book, like, what type of gift is that? I have enough books. But the content of this little black book was much greater than I expected. In that book, there was many workouts, Bible verses, and inspirational quotes. And from all these things, I've learned that hard work is not only about one great action, it's about many consistent efforts in doing the little things right. My grandfather was blessed with tremendous speed, as we can see, but he didn't settle just to try and be the best in this area. He tried to be the absolute best, and the successes he accomplished was a result of these consistent efforts. His hard work did not stop on the track and the football field. He was a devoted husband, family man, and mentor, coaching track and football along the Central Coast for a few years. He has always been an inspiration to me, and I hope that he'll inspire you to strive for your best and do the little things right. And lastly, my grandfather would like to thank everyone responsible for him receiving this award, and especially the faculty and staff of Santa Barbara High School and everything that they do for the students. Thank you.
Next we have Roger Aceves, the class of 1973. In high school, Roger was very involved on the varsity track and cross-country teams. He was a sports editor for The Forge. He sang in the a cappella choir, and he was a member of ASB. He graduated from SBCC with a degree in law and society and started working in law enforcement, serving 32 years with both the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office and then the Santa Barbara Police Department. During his career, Roger served as a major crimes detective, a hostage negotiator, and a field training officer. He also graduated from the prestigious FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia in 1994. In 2001, Roger was selected to serve as the 54th El Presidente of Old Spanish Days, and shortly after founded Fiesta Ranchera at Rancho La Patera Stowhouse. Later in 2006, he was elected for Goleta City Council and re-elected in 2010 and 2014. He was mayor in 2009 and 2013. Roger Aceves is the only Hispanic individual ever elected to serve Goleta. Please welcome Roger to the stand to accept his award.
Well, good afternoon. Coming back to school brings back some great memories. And I should start off with the most important memory, and that is, it was at this school where I met my wife, Debbie. All right. We were juniors, but she refused to date me until we were seniors. But this June 19th, we celebrate our 41st wedding anniversary. I want to thank the leadership class, the Alumni Association for selecting me. It was a surprise when I got that letter because I never intended for my public service to be recognized in such a manner. I served because I thought, and I continue to serve, because I thought that's what we should do for our community. The fact that I'm the only Mexican ever elected ever to the Goleta City Council is concerning. Because we need representation from all sides of our community. And I would hope that those of you in this room tonight think about your future. Where do you want to be? And who do you want to be known as? What footprint are you going to leave in our society? Because it starts here in the community of Santa Barbara High School, it goes on to your college life, and it goes on to your adult life. So do not ever let an opportunity go by because you think you can't do it. You can if you want and you work hard to accomplish it. You know, you saw Johnny Gilbert up there. I used to be fast in high school. In fact, I think we still hold the mile relay record with Phil Pipersburg and Eric Gilbert.
All right. Yeah.
But I think that that record still stands because thank God they switched to metrics. But if you got to miles, we were pretty fast. And we ran on an asphalt track. So I'm glad that the stadium's now going to be rebuilt. Future generations of Dons will be running on a first-class track, representing the school and representing our community. So thank you very much for this honor. I'll never forget it. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have Lee Wardlaw, class of 1973. In high school, Lee Wardlaw was a very active member of the student body. She was a part of the Donettes, shown in the picture on the left, and in the Associated Student Body, ASB, shown in the picture on the right. She published her first poem at SBHS's literary magazine, The Oracle, in 1971. Lee received her BA in education at Cal Poly, then became a teacher for 5 years. After she got her AMI primary diploma from the Montessori Institute of San Diego and MED from Loyola University in Maryland in 2014. This picture features Lee at her Cal Poly graduation. In 1977, when Lee was a senior at Cal Poly, her family's home and surrounding neighborhood was destroyed in Santa Barbara's Sycamore Fire. The experience inspired her to write her first novel for young adults, Corey's Fire. The book was published in 1990 and is still in print today. Sonora High School is featured in several scenes within the book. She has published over 30 award-winning books written for young readers, including the 101 Ways To series. Her books have received numerous awards and have been honored by the American Library Association, International Reading Association, and the Children's Book Council, and many more. And now, accepting the award tonight will be Lee herself. So let's bring her up to the stand.
Thank you. Fall of 1970. That's when I started at Santa Barbara High. If you had told me then that in 47 years I'd be standing up here to receive this honor, I would have laughed, choked in disbelief. And then I would have wailed, but I'll be so old. But today I don't feel old. Instead, I feel as if my 3 years at Santa Barbara High School happened 15 minutes ago. My freshman year took place at Santa Barbara Junior High. That's because back then, Santa Barbara High School was a 3-year high school. 9th grade was a huge deal for us girls in 69-70 because that's when the dress codes changed and we were finally allowed for the very first time to wear pants to school. High school was filled with a lot of other important firsts for me. First love. Every day before homeroom, he and his buddies liked to slouch against the windows in the morning sun of the main hall. He had long sideburns and long legs, deep water blue eyes, and a broken front tooth. And the day I walked past and he winked at me, oh, my heart was his. First kiss. Same guy during a loud, dark, and very sweaty school dance in the gym. I'm glad my mom couldn't make it today because she'd be up here or down here going, la 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 la. No kissing. First broken heart. Yep, that snaggletooth guy ripped and ransacked it to pieces. Don't worry, I eventually found somebody buried.